Okay. Oh, hi everyone. Thanks for looking in, listening in. Hope you're all keeping well. I'm John, and as we sort of come slowly out of lockdown number 2, well, I thought I'd record another one of my little mini concerts from home, try out some more new songs that I've been writing during lockdown in the recent months, and I hope you enjoy them. The first song is a little song called She'll Never Get Married Again, and Chris and I have been watching a lot of Agatha Christie murder stories, murder mysteries and things during lockdown, so it sort of seems appropriate that I start off the concert with a tale that wouldn't really be out of place in one of Agatha Christie's books. Okay, so it's a little song called She'll Never Get Married Again. I once knew a lady, a delicate sort. She had a complexion so pale. Some say that her husbands were accident prone, but some tell a different tale. 10 weddings and funerals passed in a blur. Her bank balance grew in proportion. The registrar pulled aside number 11 and whispered, I recommend caution. 'Cause one of her husbands fell down the stairs, and one fell into the cellar. One fell into the well in the dark, such a very unfortunate fella. One fell from a ladder while mending the roof, and one fell under a train. Let's hope now she's married to number 11. She'll never get married again. In view of such accidents, you'll understand, insurance was quite hard to come by. But without compensation, the pecuniary sort, she'd have felt just a little hard done by. When number 11 succumbed to a charm, she made sure he had plenty of money. But when she explained how her husbands had died, well, he laughed, he thought it quite funny. That one of her husbands fell down the stairs, and one fell into the cellar. One fell into the well in the dark, such a very unfortunate fella. One fell from a ladder while mending the roof, and one fell under a train. And now that he's married to number 11, she'll never get married again. Now the first thing he did was to mend the loose floorboard, tighten the banister rail. He drug on the ladder he quickly replaced, and he kept his eyes peeled without fail. He roughed up the slippery patio stones and tightened the floorboards once more, for he knew how these accidents seemed to occur. 10 times he'd been married before. His wives fell down the stairs, and one slipped up heavily laden. One fell into the well in the dark, such a very unfortunate maiden. One fell from a ladder not far from the truth, and one fell under a train. And now that he's married to number 11, she'll never get married again. Oh, and now that he's married to number 11, she'll never get married again. She'll never get married again. Thank you very much. Right, just to keep ringing in the changes, I'm going to keep swapping backwards and forwards from the keyboard to the bouzouki. And let's see. This next song was actually inspired by the manager of our local Indian restaurant, and he was bemoaning the fact that his children weren't interested in carrying on his business, you know, when he retired. And, well, it made me think of all the trades where skills, used to be passed down within the family through generations, and how this kind of tradition has pretty well all but disappeared. And the song's called Father's Footsteps. I apologise for having my crib sheets here, but some of these songs are pretty new. While the smith beats out the horseshoes, he keeps a steady time. His son, young son, watching the hammer fall, learns the rhythms and the rhyme. The joint that glues the wood joints, and his son sits closely by. He's learning through experience, and his knowledge he'll apply. They'll be following father's footsteps, learning their father's trades. Though age-old custom hand-me-downs, planned from birth, prove their worth. They'll be following father's footsteps, traditions fade away. And these fathers' sons might be the ones who let the past decay, who let the past decay. Toolmakers and carpenters and tradesmen in the past kept tradition in the family and followed their father's paths. Stonemasons and bookkeepers have all been protégés. Many young musicians learnt their skills watching their fathers play. They'll be following father's footsteps, learning their father's trades. Though age-old custom hand-me-downs, planned from birth, prove their worth. They'll be following father's footsteps, but traditions fade away. And these fathers' sons might be the ones who let the past decay, who let the past decay. Now the world outside the window beckons one and all. So many opportunities, so many sirens call. And the wealth of life's experience that might have seen them through is cast aside impatiently in search of something new. No more following father's footsteps, learning their father's trades. Though age-old custom hand-me-downs, planned from birth, proved their worth. No more following father's footsteps, as traditions fade away. Many fathers' sons become the ones who let the past decay, who let the past decay. Thank you very much. A song called Father's Footsteps. Woo. I keep thinking that songs that come from the memories of my youth must eventually dry up, but as soon as I think I've remembered them all, another one creeps in. And this next one's a song about the food we used to eat and how it's changed over the last 50 years. The words create really vivid pictures in my head about meal times back in the 1960s. I suspect some of the words and phrases might ring home to yourself if you remember those old days. It's a little song called Gourmet Food for Us. Here we go. Smoky kippers, more bones than meat, cooked in a pan of lard. Hands rough wiped on newspapers, now scrub your fingers hard. Cooking in front of Nan's coal fire with the smell of burning toast. Singeing hair on backs of hands as fingers start to roast. It was all we could afford, and we dined without much fuss. But we had what we were given then, gourmet food for us. Fat from the daily cooking pan was collected in a pot. This dripping smeared on crust of bread was eaten cold, not hot. Crunchy sugar sandwiches, or sometimes strawberry jam, might follow our tea time favourite meat, the local butcher's spam. It was all we could afford, and we dined without much fuss. But we had what we were given then, gourmet food for us. When the Winkle man came round, we'd sit with a plate of pins and a dark brown big paper bag our hands would all dip in, washed down with non-brute condiment, followed by chunks of bread. I once had seafood poisoning and I wish that I was dead. But it was all we could afford, and we dined without much fuss. But we had what we were given then, gourmet food for us. Well, a joint of meat for Sunday lunch, served cold on Monday nights. On Tuesdays all leftovers, minced when Monday it was tight. The Wednesday evening fry-up, Dad's favourite bubble and squeak. On Thursday stewed and fish fingers, on Friday every week. But it was all we could afford, and we dined without much fuss. But we had what we were given then, gourmet food for us. Now many passing years have seen our eating habits change. The cuisine's much more varied and the old meal seems so strange. Now Indian curries and Chinese food are the things we like to eat. To think corned beef with spuds and peas was once a special treat. It was all we could afford, and we dined without much fuss. But we had what we were given then, gourmet food for us. It was all we could afford, but we dined without much fuss. And we had what we were given then, gourmet food for us. Gourmet food for us, thank you. Oh, I was nearly home and dry then. It all went wrong in the last verse. My apologies if that gets kept in. Right, okay. Chris and I watched an excellent video about the flora and fauna of the South Atlantic Islands. And when it reached the island of South Georgia, the video included shots of derelict rusting remains left behind by the whaling industry when they abandoned the island in the mid-1900s. But the soundtrack was actually accompanied by moaning wind as it whistled through the old buildings and the rusting remains, and which actually put me in mind of recordings I've heard of whale song. And so I found myself rather kind of romantically imagining that the sound was calling the whales back, with the message that it was now safe to return. So the song's a bit of a sad lament, but with a kind of a hopeful ending and a hopeful outcome. And I've just simply called it the South Georgia Refrain. In the far South Atlantic, a ghost town survives, a reminder of folly and greed. on an island where penguins and albatross cry and elephant seals come to breed. Though the whalers have gone and time has moved on, their rusting equipment remains, and the oven still stands, scarring the land, proof to South Georgia's shame. Georgia's shame. Now the harpoon guns are no more. The Antarctic wind sings as it rails through the wreckage that litters the shore. Will this mournful refrain call back the whales? There's an eerie evocative sound as the icy cold wintry gales whistle and echo around. Will this mournful refrain call back the whales? In the bay lie the derelict factory ships, in the bay lie the derelict factory ships, abandoned when profits declined, with 48,000 leviathans killed, such a sad inappropriate shrine. In 60 short years the whales disappeared, their loss saw the industry fold. Now in our own time this terrible crime still makes the blood run cold. Blood run cold. Now the harpoon guns are no more. The Antarctic wind sings as it rails through the wreckage that litters the shore. Will this mournful refrain call back the whales? There's an eerie evocative sound as the icy cold wintry gales whistle and echo around. Will this mournful refrain call back the whales? Given time in the water surrounding the land, ecology mends and repairs. Now cruises bring tourists who step on the sand, concerned with their private affairs. They tour the enclave, visit Shackleton's grave, take pictures of penguins and seals. Now in the blue-green a whale may be seen, and they marvel how nature soon heals. Nature soon heals. Now the harpoon guns are no more. The Antarctic wind sings as it rails through the wreckage that litters the shore. Will this mournful refrain call back the whales? There's an eerie evocative sound and the icy cold wintry gales whistle and echo around. Will this mournful refrain call back the whales? Thanks so much. That's the South Georgia Refrain. If you want to check that out on YouTube, it's something to do with the South Atlantic Islands. You'll soon find it, I'm sure. It's well worth watching that. Thanks very much. Well, you know, some songs that you write, you know, they become your favourites. You just enjoy singing them so much. You just keep on playing them. This is one of my favourites at the moment. It's a taster really from the next CD, and the CD is going to be called A History of the English People from 65 million years BC to AD 1945. So it covers quite a lot of ground. And I'm actually waiting for the COVID restrictions to ease and finish so that I can add some other musicians to the mix and get it done perhaps towards later on this year. Be nice. This particular song actually relates to an event that happened in 1605. And if I say that's the reign of King James I, might give you a clue. If you're still not there with it yet, how about 5th of November 1605? That'll give you more of a clue to where the song's going. And once again, I've managed to slip in a few memories from my own from yesteryear. Not 1605, I might add. But it's a little song called Penny for the Guy. They cry. There are people gathered round the roaring fire, watching the guy catch a light. The fireworks throwing out shooting stars. It's a cold November night. There are chestnuts roasting in an old tin tray, potatoes wrapped in foil, and the sausages sizzle on toasting forks. Hot soup's on the boil, hot soup's on the boil. For it's bonfire night and they celebrate, though few of them know just why. A Catholic plot on a Protestant state that badly went awry. And now upon this fateful date, penny for the guy they cry, penny for the guy they cry. At the Westminster Palace in the Undercroft, Guy Fawkes was standing guard. Gunpowder barrels under faggots and coals were disguised in a grand charade. But the secret leaked out and a search was made. Fawkes tried to take the blame. They were just in time to prevent the crime of a parliament put to flame, of a parliament put to flame. For it's bonfire night and they celebrate, though few of them know just why. A Catholic plot on a Protestant state that badly went awry. And now upon this fateful day, it's penny for the guy they cry, penny for the guy they cry. We made out Guy from Pa's old clothes with newspaper stuffed inside, and then with gloves and scarf and a frightening mask, he's wheeled down the street with pride. With the money that's thrown in an old tin can, we go straight to the fireworks shop to buy bangers and crackers and mines and squibs that'll make the old folks hop, that'll make the old folks hop. For it's bonfire night and we celebrate, though few of them know just why. Catholic plots on a Protestant state that badly went awry. And now upon this fateful date, penny for the guy they cry, penny for the guy they cry. Penny for the guy. Thank you very much. And we've got beautiful sun out and it's quite warm on my back at the moment, so nothing like 5th of November. But there we go. It's good to know actually that so many agencies are taking global warming seriously these days, although many others are still ignoring those warnings as if it's not happening. But I was thinking the other day, I just kind of wonder sometimes if all the efforts made that people are making to reverse the situation are actually all going to end up being a little bit too little too late. And that just happens to be the title of this next song. I didn't want to write a downbeat song, so it's quite a lively thing. And it's more like asking a question really, not predicting that it's going to be too little too late. I don't usually do jaunty numbers on the keyboard, so here we go, we'll give it a go, see how it goes. In the past we built windmills and water mills too. Very few are left standing intact. Now renewable energy sources accrue. The oil industry doesn't like that, but there's a deadline. Earth has a lifeline. We have much longer to wait. If they stick to the rules, there'll be no fossil fuels. Don't make it too little too late. Don't make it too little too late. So look with your eyes, there's no big disguise. This world's in a desperate state. Small steps on the ground, steer the juggernauts round. Don't make it too little too late. Don't make it too little too late. A no fishing zone can save marine life. Inland there are nature reserves. Wetlands and heaths are in trouble and strife. Protection's the least they deserve. Diversity's critical, nothing political ever comes served on a plate. To build a strong base, each brick has its place. Don't make it too little too late. Don't make it too little too late. So look with your eyes, there's no big disguise. This world's in a desperate state. Small steps on the ground, steer the juggernaut round. Don't make them too little too late. Don't make them too little too late. Every tree planted, we cut down 100, and forests are shrinking in size. Though we know if the lungs of our planet are sundered, this folly is surely unwise. Our leaders who guide us make speeches to chide us, and actions speak louder than words. There's a world to be saved, it's time to engage. Don't make it too little too late, and it won't be too little too late. So look with your eyes, there's no big disguise. This world's in a desperate state. Small steps on the ground, steer the juggernaut round. Don't make them too little too late. Don't make them too little too late. Fingers crossed. It's not too little too late. Thanks very much. This is the most recent one of all. It was only written a few days ago, so I've barely got my head around this. It's sort of called The Weatherman. You know, it always makes me laugh when I think that with all the technology that they've got available these days, Weathermen can still get their predictions so horribly wrong. I kind of take weather forecasts with a pinch of salt these days. But I started to wonder if weathermen in the old days were ever taken seriously by the people and treated with respect. And this song sort of suggests otherwise. And, well, I've simply called it The Weatherman. Let's see how we go. I am an old weatherman who spends all his time checking out weather vanes, predicting the climb. Though many will say, if you listen to me, believe nothing you hear and only half what you see. When I feel in my bones a cold wind from the north, I will tell you that snowstorms might soon issue forth. Though many will say, if you listen to me, believe nothing you hear and only half what you see. On an east wind in spring, Jack Frost may arrive. Some plants need protection to keep them alive. Now many will say, if you listen to me, believe nothing you hear and only half what you see. A warm breeze from the south may bring dust in the air. It's Sahara and red sand, and I'll tell you beware. Though many will say, if you listen to me, believe nothing you hear and only half what you see. I've passed my experience on to you all with no gratitude all my life long. I've made my predictions from winter to fall, and no one remembers the times I'm proved right, only the times I'm proved wrong. When I raise a wet finger to a westerly gale, I know rain for the garden will shortly prevail. Though many will say, if you listen to me, believe nothing you hear and only half what you see. I am an old weatherman, no one takes heed when I tell my good wife an umbrella she'll need. She says, here's what I'm told if I listen to thee. Believe nothing I hear and only half what I see. That's a brand new song, The Weatherman. Thanks very much. Okay, there's a brand new song, only written a couple of weeks ago. Writing songs really is such fun. One of the reasons is you seldom know what's going to come out at the end of it, which is it's good fun, that is. Sometimes a song can be inspired by a single word. Other times I have a complete story in my mind when I start to write the song. In the case of this next song, I had in my head to begin with the first line of what turned out to be the chorus. They stole from the rich and gave back to the poor. And having come up with that line, that actually, the rest of the song virtually wrote itself from there. And the song's a thing called Folk Heroes of Old. Yep. Oh, so it goes like this. Tales were told with relish of our folk heroes of old. Handed down through centuries, these stories still get told. But like a game of whispers, these legends grew and grew. And now no one can really tell what's false and what is true. Near the town of Nottingham, a band of men in green lived deep in Sherwood Forest to keep from being seen. And according to the sheriff, they were outlaws, rogues and thieves. But if you heed the legend, this is not what you'd believe. They stole from the rich, gave back to the poor. I don't think many crooks and thieves do that anymore. And I can't see how this policy put food upon the table. As stories go, these folk heroes are just the stuff of fable. Turpin was a highwayman, his course was called Black Bess. Stand and deliver was the mode of his address. He only stole from rich men, which comes as no surprise, as taking gold from beggars is no paying enterprise. They stole from the rich, gave back to the poor. I don't think many crooks and thieves do that anymore. And I can't see how this policy put food upon the table. As stories go, these folk heroes are just the stuff of fable. Tales were told with relish of our folk heroes of old. Handed down through centuries, these stories still get told. But these altruistic characters are fated out of scale. In reality, our heroes would get caught and thrown in jail. They stole from the rich, gave back to the poor. I don't think many crooks and thieves do that anymore. And I can't see how this policy put food upon the table. As stories go, these folk heroes are just the stuff of fable. I can't see how this policy put food upon the table. As stories go, these folk heroes are just the stuff of fable. That's the folk heroes of old. Thank you very much. Just beginning to get the feel of that one now. I've often wondered whether there are life forms on the planets around stars other than our sun. It just seems inconceivable to me that the only intelligent life in the universe exists on this one planet we call Earth, when you think of the vast number of stars there are in the universe. Well, this song's just a bit of a gentle musing to finish the set with, and I've called it Are We All Alone? I sometimes look into the evening sky, where the seeds of many questions have been sown. As the starlight shines into my eyes, I glimpse a bigger picture beyond the here and now, and can't believe that humans are alone. There are millions of stars so clear to see, and just as many more are still unknown. The colours of the spectrum are the key to endless variation, conditions for creation, forging life forms quite unlike our own. Is there anybody looking down? Are we just a part of one big plan? Or maybe we're a mutant aberration, a transitory flicker, a flawed, imperfect life force known as man. We used to think that Earth was at the center of a universe created just for man. But as we travelled humankind's adventure, the cosmos grew much larger, Earth's importance smaller, and the shrinking of man's vanity began. Is there anybody looking down? Are we just a part of one big plan? Or maybe we're a mutant aberration, a transitory flicker, a flawed, imperfect life force known as man. And so I look up to the stars at night and wonder what will be our final fate. Perhaps we'll never reach those points of light. There must surely be a chance other life is more advanced, and maybe all we have to do is wait. Is there anybody looking down? Are we just a part of one big plan? Or maybe we're a mutant aberration, a transitory flicker, a flawed imperfect life force known as man. Are we all alone? Thank you ever so much for listening. Thank you. If you'd like to hear more, do check out the website. It's johnclacken.co.uk, and you'll find more songs, words, and plenty of other information on there. You'll probably also find info on the progress of the new CD, which will hopefully be ready for use for issue later this year. Other than that, best wishes to you all, and until next time, take care. Thanks very much. Bye for now.